Hi there. I'm guessing you were either sent here by force or some reason you need to learn how to write a better thesis statement. So I'm going to start you off with one of my favorite fictional characters. And my method is that if you're like Luke and you think you can't, then you can't. And if you don't know the movie, you need to go watch it
No. We'll never get it out now.
So certain are you?
now. Certain are you?
Always with you what cannot be done. Do you nothing that I say?
Master, moving stones around is one thing. This is totally different.
Totally
No.
different.
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Why not? Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Amen, Yoda. That's exactly how I feel. If you're here because you have to write a better thesis statement, I'm going to take you through a formulaic way of writing a thesis statement. And then once you know this formula, you can branch out and go away from a three-part thesis statement. But if you've never really written a blueprinted three-part thesis statement, then welcome, you're in the right place. So first thing you get is a topic, and let's say the first thing you're going to do is brainstorm. And brainstorm meaning you're going to think of all the things that come to your mind, and you can do that in a million ways. And basically my favorite way is just a free write. So if you're writing a paper about your hobbies, and your hobbies are dance, I would make a list of all the dances that you know, that you've been to, the different kinds of cultural dances, the club dances, whatever comes to your mind. I would also do a free write if I am a dancer and I'm going to be writing about why dancing is an important part of my life, then I'm going to have a lot of thoughts about that. I'm going to write everything out. This isn't about brainstorming as much as it is about thesis, but the first thing you have to do is get your ideas out and get them on paper in any way that you can. Don't worry about spelling, don't worry about punctuation, just worry about the ideas getting on the paper. And once you do that, you're ready to write your thesis statement. You have to do three things. And know there's three reasons why you have to write a thesis statement this way. Number one, it's a preview for your reader, the supporting points that you're going to introduce in your paper and in your supporting paragraphs. Number two, to force yourself to consider at the very beginning of an essay the appropriateness of the points with which you support your thesis. So a lot of students get out there and they write a thesis statement, but it's not balanced. And a thesis statement, it has an equal balance of everything. And if you can learn how to write one in the beginning when you're learning to write, then you won't have to go back and fix so much later. So stick with me. Number three, it's a constant reminder of what you intend to write. So just like the Millennium Falcon, I think that's Millennium Falcon, right? I'm into Star Wars. Has a blueprint, your essay has to have a blueprint. And a good thesis statement is the blueprint. And you could not build this Millennium Falcon without first drawing a diagram of all the pieces. And if you've ever put a project together, like a model airplane or any of those types where you're putting piece over piece over piece, that's very typical of what's going on with a thesis statement. It's the same exact principle. This is building something else. The thesis statement is helping to build a rock solid paper. Okay, and once you know the reasons why you're doing it, the other main reason is because you want to be effective. You don't want to be confusing anyone, especially a teacher who reads nothing but essays all the time. And the thesis statement has to be those things, and it also has to be parallel in very specific ways. The two specific ways that most English teachers would look for are, number one, grammatical, and number two is conceptual. So grammatically meaning the rules of grammar apply in your thesis statement, and conceptual, meaning the rules that ideas have a similar parallel level of understanding. And this is where most students get confused. Grammar can be easily fixed. The ideas is where most people struggle with. So let's look at how they must be grammatically parallel. Grammatical parallelism means that the three parts must be the same part of speech or parts of the same sentence. So if you choose single words, they must all be either all adjectives or all adverbs or all nouns. So here's an example. Number 1. Napoleon's forces, I'm thinking the force be with you. Napoleon's foreign policies were financial, social, and political disasters for France. So notice you've got 3 adjectives, all modifying the word disaster. So you're taking a concept like Napoleon's foreign policy, that's the who, and now you're going to be proving something. You're going to say that they were financial, social, and political disasters. An entire paragraph will be about how it was a financial disaster, and the next paragraph will be that it was a social disaster, and the next paragraph will be how it was a political disaster. Or same exact thesis sentence could be changed up so that instead of the adjectives modifying the nouns, you could completely change it and make it prepositional phrases or independent clauses. So here's another example. Same concept, same exact paper, different thesis statement. Napoleon's foreign policies left France in financial distress, in social chaos, and in political disarray. So now we've got 3 prepositional phrases: in financial distress, in social chaos, and in political disarray. And if you aren't sure how to make a thesis statement, how to start out just with the basics, which is the who, the context, who are you writing about, the assertion, in this case you left France in this disastrous situation, then you can't even begin to give your 3 parts. So that's my previous video, and this is the more specific thesis statement, the one that will help you write a better paper. Okay, so number 2, equally as important as grammar. The ideas that you put in your paper are so important, and for them to be parallel is the most important. And it shows that you get it, that you get the concept that ideas have a similar level of energy and a similar meaning. Number 1 here, conceptual parallelism means that the 3 parts must be at the same level of generality. So let's look at A. She likes to dance, swim, and breathe. The subject is she. What are we proving? That she likes 3 things: dance, swim, and breathe. Well, we can't consider breathing the same activity as dancing or swimming. It's involuntary. You can't not do it. Dancing and swimming you could not do and you'd still survive. So the ideas are not of the same level. They're not the same generality. They're not the same, if you think of it like a grocery store, they're not on the same aisle. They're not in the same department. And next, B. She likes to dance, swim, and tango. Again, dancing, swimming, and tango. Tango is a type of dancing, so it's actually subordinate to the larger category of dancing. Sub meaning under, ordinate meaning order, so it's under the order, subordinate. So you can't have a paragraph about tango when you've already got a paragraph about dance. Tango is a specific type of dance, so you have to get something that is the same level of, this is specific as dancing and swimming. So you could say running or biking. Those would be similar, but not the same. And last but not least, C, she likes to dance, swim, and wade. Same as before. Wade is something you can do in the water, but it's inactive. Swimming and dancing are definitely active activities. So the conceptual parallelism is that the ideas that you put in the paper are all the same. All right, put on your thinking cap. Right? Number 1, students who make better grades than, I can't read anymore. Which of the 4 sentences reads better? Number 1, students who study make better grades than students who don't study. Number 2, studying results in better grades than not studying. 3, better grades are the result of studying. Or 4, better grades are made by students who study. So, which one reads better? And my hint is right below. You always put the actor first and then the action. So the one that makes the most sense is the number 1. Students who study make better grades than students who don't. You put the subject first, the subject's the actor. What did they do? The action comes after. Good thesis statement models, okay? Next, these are 2 model perfect thesis statements. We have the subject, which I just called an actor. You might also have heard of it as a topic. And then in bold, that's bolded, sorry. So what's bolded here is the subject, the actor, the topic, the who. And what is underlined is the assertion. What are you proving? What are you trying to disprove or discuss? And that part will always be underlined. Okay, so number 1, model thesis. Most successful students have 3 characteristic abilities that separate them from those who merely play at being students. They have the ability to motivate themselves, they have the ability to organize themselves, and they have the ability to set goals for themselves. So notice we have an actor, most successful students. We have the action. They have 3 characteristic abilities. That's what we're proving throughout the whole paper, is that how these abilities, which of them? 3 of them. Blueprint 3. Number 1, the ability to motivate. Notice the grammar. They have the ability to. They have the ability to. They have the ability to. 3 times. And the whole paper is going to prove that this ability helps them motivate themselves, organize themselves, set goals for themselves. Grammatically parallel and conceptually parallel. Next. But 2 candidates for the office of mayor, city mayor, I can't talk, but 2 candidates for the office of Money City Mayor, candidate X, the Republican nominee, and candidate Y, the Democratic nominee, differ dramatically in their approaches to taxation, government spending, and social issues. So, the who, the actors are, even though you've got all of this, all of the information above and beyond in this thesis statement, it's basically your actors are candidate X and candidate Y. We know we've got the detail, Republican nominee, Democratic nominee, what city with the mayor and the name of the city. But what's important here is the who is the candidate, the assertion is how they differ dramatically, and the paragraphs are going to be how they differ in taxation, how they differ in government spending, and how they differ in social issues. And the whole time you're going to have to show how it's a dramatic difference. And last but not least, these are some high school examples from students of mine this year. Number 1, this was a student, the entire thesis statement. Hobbies do more than entertain. And the red is me. And I asked the students such as, and we got down to the nitty-gritty with this thesis statement, and we basically came up with, because I asked him, what do you mean? Tell me about your hobbies. He's like, well, they get me out of trouble, and where I could be getting in trouble, I have something else to do. I have to go to football practice. Cool. And, well, what does that do for you then? He's like, well, I guess that helps me earn more self-esteem because I am overcoming odds and I'm doing the right thing, and it makes my mom proud, and that makes me proud. Good. And then I leave the student to fill in the 3rd piece of the blueprint. So the whole time the student is proving hobbies do more than entertain. He's going to have a paragraph about how they do more than entertain by keeping teens out of trouble. that he's going to have a paragraph about how hobbies entertain by helping teens earn self-esteem. And then he could have said something like, they lead to future employment. You never know. If you're going to, wish and dream, you might as well go for it, right? So that's a good thesis statement. That's a blueprint thesis statement. Yay. Okay, number 2. Original thesis statement as submitted to me this year. I have many favorite hobbies, and without doing these, my life would be boring. And I say, yeah, and so get on the phone with this student, same thing. Same exact topic, same exact class, 2 totally different thesis statements. This student we came up with in the final product, having a hobby is important because, so your hobby is your action. What are you proving? It's important because, paragraph number 1, it creates less boredom. Paragraph number 2, it allows my passion for life to show. And paragraph number 3, and I forget what her and I came up with, but it was the third point, and I like to leave it open for people to put in their own ideas, but the point here is the ideas are similar. They have the same merit, the same equal weight. Here's a perfect example of something that wasn't parallel. Number 3. You could lose weight by getting exercise and not eating fast so you get fuller faster, and by going jogging. And that was exactly how it was submitted to me. And instead of being complicated, I said, listen, how do you lose weight? Got on the phone. How do you lose weight? The best way to lose weight is getting exercise. Okay, tell me more. And then that's where the student kind of came where they were lacking ideas. And I said, okay, well, you talked about eating, so you definitely have to put that in there. Eat right. And then he really had a hard time thinking of what the other one could be. And I thought, well, this is when you have to go and do some research. You have to get on the computer and pull up what are the best ways to lose weight, and you're going to get ideas. Now, if you're in a testing situation, you don't have that kind of time to research, but in the environment where you do have a chance to research, there are many ways to lose weight, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry for a reason. Everyone has the product or a way, or some person that they heard some weight loss thing looked good on them, worked good on them, and your paper is not whether you're right or wrong, it's how well you prove to me the points that you're saying about how you can lose weight by. And so we came up with the best way to lose weight is to exercise, eat right, and I think we ended up here with to make a lifestyle change. And that was a paragraph for him about not eating in front of the TV. We talked about what does he eat for breakfast? He eats cereal. What kind of cereal? Well, the bad kind. And how do I know it's the bad kind? And I said, from what I remember from my health courses, was if it turns the milk a color, then that's not a good cereal to eat. So this whole paragraph for him was about how he needed to change the products that he did eat. So it wasn't even, he had a paragraph about exercising, he had a paragraph about eating right, but then he also had to add a paragraph about this lifestyle change, which could involve a little bit of what he's talked about in the other 2, but in all reality, at the end, it was a same general idea, and he had some things to do with sleep in there, supporting details, and how all those things together can help you lose weight. And my kids are home. I'm going to stop there. My travels around the world, no, I'm going to keep going and see what happens. My travels around the world with my family have allowed me to see the different cultures that are around us. This is a good thesis statement. It's not terrible. But I'm left thinking, yeah, and it's just very generic. It doesn't speak to me like a real person wrote it. That, it's very non-specific. So once I talked to this student and realized that he, because of his tennis career, he gets to have more life experiences than your average teenager. And, the good things about that is he spends more time with his family. He learns about different cultures, and he you know, he all in all this is all came out of his tennis life, but he was sick of writing about tennis, so he decided to write about travels. I'm in here! My I am, it's okay.
I told you, Mommy's here, Daddy.
Hi.
Daddy didn't know you
I'm
were
on
here.
camera. Shh.
Mommy.
Hold on, let me finish my sentence. My travels around the world have allowed me to spend more time with my family, to learn about different cultures, and to have more life experiences. I'm going to stop. Hi.
Guess what?
Hold on one
We
second.
met a famous author today.
You met a famous author. Hold on, I have to stop here. Okay, hold on.
His name is